Back in the 1800s, survival out here on the frontier meant relying on wit, grit, and a few downright ingenious tricks. Some of those secrets are just as useful today as they were back then. So, pull up a seat and listen close. I'm going to share the kind of knowledge that kept families alive, warm, and well-fed through the harshest of times. Picture it, the American frontier, wild and untamed. Winters were bone-chilling, summers blistering hot, and the nearest general store might be 100 miles away. Families lived by what they could grow, hunt, and preserve, and trust me, waste weren't an option. That's where cleverness came in. Now, I remember one particular family, McCain's. They were homesteaders through and through. What they knew about keeping meat fresh, warming their home, and growing crops all year long could fill a book. But tonight, I'll give you the highlights. Meat preservation was an art. The McCains didn't have no fridge, didn't need one neither. They used smokehouses, salt curing, and even buried meat in barrels packed with ash and sawdust. That ash, well, it kept bugs away and moisture out. And if you've never tasted smoked venison jerky from the McCain Smokehouse, you've missed a little slice of heaven, let me tell ya. One winter, when a storm trapped them in for weeks, they lived on that meat. Not a speck spoiled, and they came out of that cold spell stronger than ever. Now, wood stoves were common, but the McCains? They went a step further. They lined the walls of their cabin with rocks they'd warmed in the fire. Those stones held heat like a bear holds honey, kept the cabin warm all night long. They even had a clever little trick for the floor. Beneath their wood planks, they built what I'd call a heat channel, a shallow trench filled with hot coals covered by flat stones. It was like underfloor heating, frontier style. You'd think growing crops in the dead of winter was impossible, but not for the McCains. They built a lean-to greenhouse against the south-facing side of their cabin. Used old glass windows salvaged from an abandoned wagon to trap the sun's heat. They'd bury barrels of water painted black inside the greenhouse. The sun warmed the barrels during the day, and at night, that water released the heat, keeping their plants from freezing. Come January, they were still eating fresh greens while the rest of us chewed on dried beans. One year, the harshest blizzard in a decade came through. Winds howled, snow piled high, and temperatures plunged below anything I'd ever seen. Most families huddled together just to survive, but the McCains? They thrived. With their smoked meat, a cabin warm as a bear den, and fresh vegetables from their greenhouse, they weathered that storm like it was a summer breeze. Their ingenuity didn't just keep Em alive, it let Em live well. Now, folks, here's the thing, the McCains weren't special, they were just smart. They didn't have solar panels or electricity, but they had something even better, know-how. And that know-how can still help us today, whether you're setting up a homestead or just looking to save a buck and live a little closer to the land. So, as you head back to your warm homes tonight, think about the lessons of the McCains. Sometimes, the old ways hold the best answers. And maybe, just maybe, they'll come in handy for you someday.